doing, everybody? I'm Tony Gaglione.
I'm Shawn Adams. This is Smacktalk. Yeah, today we're getting into it because it's the World Cup. We got our shades on. We're cool. We're going to be wearing our shades in all 4 segments because summertime's coming. The sun is out. I work outside. Tony works outside.
About 97 today.
Yeah, 99.
I was on AC all day. That was nice.
I was actually in a loader all day today, so it wasn't that bad.
I was in an A-frame coil.
Air conditioner like at
in
once,
the attic,
blowing hot air.
in the attic, where it was 140, I'm sure.
Yeah, insulation. All right, so the reason why we're doing this is because the World Cup is coming up, and I don't know about you, but I don't think there's another person on this planet besides Tony that's excited as I am about the World Cup. I tell everybody at work, I tell everybody I know, I'm like, hey, you know what today is? And they're like, no. I'm like, 28 days until the World Cup starts.
Tomorrow? You know what today is? It's 27 days of the World Cup.
Yeah, exactly. I do that, except my boss. My boss is from England, so he already got offered to take me to a beer while the games are on, but we just haven't seen. So I'll see if we get paid for that. We're gonna start out. We're gonna do some roster exclusions.
Yeah,
these are big name
awful
players that have been left off their national squads.
Awful.
So first one, we're gonna start with the U.S. Okay, guy that scored a lot of crucial goals for our qualifying campaign, but he has an attitude. Eddie Johnson, Seattle Sounders.
Not Seattle Sounders.
Exactly.
Used to play Seattle Sounders. Doesn't play anymore because of his attitude. I don't know where he's playing now. Frankly, I don't care. Yeah, he scored some good goals in qualifying, but he is not at the caliber of Josie Altidore, Brooke Dempsey, Construction Diablo front right now. I think Wando is better than Eddie Johnson. That's just my opinion. Excluding him from the 30-man roster is probably a mistake. Excluding him from 23.
Okay, putting them on the
Okay.
not having the 7 provisionals in case.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, I understand.
This speed, I just think having in a game where you can throw speed there as a sub, whatever. Because you know, old man Donovan's not going to.
80th minute.
Yeah, you know.
I mean, you got to come in with something that's going to change the game.
The question is maybe this is what Jurgen Klinsmann was asking. 80th minute, subbing in. Does he have the attitude about not starting? To come out and give 10 minutes of his own.
Because when he scored those goals, he was starting.
That's right. All right, so moving on. The next big one was for Germany. It was Mario Gomez. Now, this is interesting to me because it's like, oh, you don't play for Bayern Munich no more?
Interesting.
Bye-bye.
Interesting. Now he plays for Florence. Fiorentina, whatever you want to call it in town. He's not playing with a big club. So the quality of competition
4th or 5th best team
is yeah. I mean, the quality of competition is a little lower in that division rather than playing in Germany.
Yeah, and starting for Munich says a lot about your quality of player.
Your Dortmund Remy does.
I think he's a victim of the Lewandowski situation. They knew they were making that move. You know what I mean? And now
it's unfortunate for him though because he's a quality striker.
Yeah, the thing is, I think Joachim Low, Germany's head coach, the way he's going to do his roster, he wants the passers. You look at Marco Reus, Ozil, Podolski, the guys that they're going to have there in the midfield playing with the up front guys. He wants that ball control thing, and Gomez is more like get the cross in. He doesn't hold up the ball.
Yeah, it's like when they put in Mandzukic on Bayern Munich. He's only in for the 70th minute.
Speaking of which,
because he's a strength player.
Speaking of which,
yeah.
Croatia.
What about him?
They can't exclude anybody because pretty much everyone that they selected is good. Everyone else sucks. So it's like your roster is made for you.
There's no subs.
Yeah, they don't sub anybody. Okay, the next big one is Ashley Cole of England, left back. Here's the thing. Luke Shaw, 18-year-old Luke Shaw of Southampton, is taking his place.
Yes.
Here's why. And a lot of people are upset about this, especially in England. But the truth is Ashley Cole is only a left back, and he's old. He doesn't get back on defense or push forward
He's
as much.
lost at least a step.
He doesn't even start for Chelsea anymore. Azpilicueta or whatever. Azpilicueta took his place. That's a great name, by the way. And Luke Shaw, Leighton Baines, they can play center if they have to.
If they have to. And then once they do, they're going to move Glenn Johnson to left back.
Glenn Johnson, right?
left.
Shaw's going to play
Wherever.
Yeah,
He can play wherever.
Yeah. The
And
thing
he's a
is it's the
shooter.
World Cup, so you have to be able to. You can't just have the same starters. You guys are going to get tired.
You have to field the best team available. However, I disagree with this next one. Carlos Tevez.
Carlos Tevez.
Argentina.
Oh my God! I know they have a plethora of.
Doesn't make sense to me.
They have a plethora of strikers. Okay, we'll get it. Whatever. We'll get into who they have, but because we'll talk about that in a second here. But this guy is leading Serie A in goals. Okay, he single-handedly has taken Juventus back to the championship.
Well, how
Serie A
about
title
3 years ago when he took Manchester City to the title?
Yeah, that's the thing. This guy he's one of those players, and I've always said this. Scarface, he's never a pretty player, but he's there.
He's a goal scorer. He knows where the ball's going to be.
Exactly.
And that's the best kind of soccer player there is.
The
Just
word
like
poacher.
hockey, you know where the puck's going to be, you know where the ball's going to be.
Yeah.
That's why Wayne Gretzky was so good at what he did.
I don't know about Tevez being Gretzky's caliber.
No.
Tevez is a big notable exclusion. The last one. Oh, no, not the
Wait a
last
second.
one. Not the last
Let's
one.
go back to Argentina real quick. They have Lavezzi.
Yeah.
They have Messi
And Aguero.
and Sergio Aguero.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing.
The only unfortunate thing
He's
I
not
see-
even on the provisional roster.
What?
He said if he didn't make the roster, he's not even going to watch it. He's going to Disneyland while the World Cup's on. This fool's having
You
a
can
month-long
play
stay.
Messi up front and still play Aguero and Lavezzi at wing.
You could play Messi anywhere else
Yeah,
on the
anywhere on
field
the field.
and put Aguero up front or Tevez up front. And like you said, I'm just saying, if I play with Argentina in the FIFA World Cup game, trust me, Tevez, if he's
starting.
he's on my team. Trust me, he's
That's
good.
for darn sure.
Okay, the next one, big one, France, Samir Nasri and Gael Clichy, former Arsenal players, stick it to you.
Yeah, stick it to you. They're not on the roster.
They're not even on the roster. But
Samir
here's the-
Nasri? I don't understand.
Okay.
Gael Clichy, maybe.
We had this conversation via text message, and I try to explain this to Tony, but he doesn't seem to get it. Samir Nasri is a great footballer. Okay, great. But when he plays for France, he blows. He blows. It's a wide-known fact. This dude is awesome for Man City. He was awesome for Arsenal. He blows when he plays for France. You cannot be that kind of player and expect to go to the World Cup. Euros? Yeah. But not the World Cup, man.
Okay, so fine.
And he's got an attitude. He said if he's not starting, he doesn't like being on the bench.
I'll take your Samir Nasri thing. Patrice Evra is old,
I know.
and he's lost a step at least.
Clichy over Evra, I know this, but they got Debuchy.
Without a doubt.
They got Debuchy and Sanya.
Without a doubt, Clichy over Evra. Even if he's not starting, even if he's in the subs, you take Evra and you get him off the team, and you put Clichy in the subs.
Yeah, you put Clichy in the subs because Debuchy's going to play. Okay, that's a good young left back. Evra's old. Clichy's not old. He's not ever old. He's older. But him and Debuchy are interchangeable.
29 years old. I don't understand. Let's talk about the biggest exclusion.
Biggest exclusion technically shouldn't count, but we're going to talk about it
No,
because
we're gonna
it's,
talk about it
it's the
because
dumbest
it's
thing
been there
a team
forever.
The dumbest thing a team could ever do is isolate their single-handed best player.
Say second best player.
No, the best player they have. How many goals did Chicharito score this year?
How many times do you start?
That's the thing.
All right,
He's
then.
not good enough to start.
Carlos Vela.
Carlos
That's what we're
Vela.
talking about.
Scored 21 goals this year, 15 assists. Ridiculous. He had 15 league goals and
Okay, tell him
9
why
assists.
he doesn't play for Mexico.
He got mad at the previous World Cup coach. Got mad at the previous World Cup coach before the previous World Cup. And he's tired of the politics that happened in the Mexican Federation. And he just said, you know what? Just leave me off the national squad. I'd rather focus on my club than deal with that stuff. Because here's what happens. In Mexico, I'm sorry to say this, but their national team is never going to be great simply because they have too much. You play in Europe, you're not you're not part of the barrio type thing. They only have 7 European players, one of who's a striker now, but wasn't a striker when he was younger. He hasn't even been. Dos Santos hasn't even been coached by the coach.
Yeah.
Once, not one time.
Yeah. And you know what?
I'm gonna say this.
Junior Dos Santos
Giovanni Dos Santos.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'm thinking UFC. Anyway, Giovanni Dos Santos played with Tottenham.
Yep.
Before. Where's he at now?
Plays for Villa. Yeah.
Okay.
He played midfield for Tottenham.
And did awesome.
Yeah. And when he got to play, because every redneck didn't like having a little Mexican guy on the team. But I hate racist. Yeah. So I hope you keep your
This guy's amazing.
He's amazing. He went from being a winger to being a striker. He's an undersized striker, but he's like Tevez. He's where the ball's at, and he can shoot. I don't know if anyone ever saw the Gold Cup game in 2011. The shot he made around Howard, the ball is on the ground, and it's spinning so fast and curves in the goal. It's
For me,
awesome.
he's the third best player in Mexico. Okay. Vela would be number one if he played.
Yeah.
Chicharito is my number two.
Yeah.
And then
Giovanni Santos.
Yeah.
So it's going to be Santos and Chicharito up front, but I'm going to say this. Is it possible that if it was Vela and Chicharito up front, could it possibly be another midfield and the defensive back, besides Rafa Marquez on defense? Could they possibly have one of the, if not the best striker tandems? Because of the interchangeability of what they what Vela, what they do together.
And you know what? You could start Dos Santos and you could start Chicharito, and then you can bring in and play Vela in midfield, and then bring in a midfielder
and move one out,
Vela up front.
Yeah, bring Santos
back, bring Chicharito out,
yeah.
and move Vela up front. The combination of the three is dangerous, but they don't even want to do that. Speaking of striker combos,
best strikers combos in the World Cup this year.
All right, I'll go with my number 4. Josie Altidore and Clint Dempsey. I'm not being a homer. I'm just saying. Josie Altidore got the shot. Clint Dempsey's got the shot. They're both lacking in speed just a little bit. However, they're both playmakers, and they can both shoot from outside the box.
Yeah, I'll give that. The only thing I worry about Josie Altidore, I don't worry about Clint Dempsey. He's awesome. He's going to make one of those sliding goals where the ball's being crossed across goal. Sure. It's one of those goals where normally a guy does a ground cross, and you think the guy's too late to get there, but no, Dempsey will stick his leg out and slide 18 yards into the box.
Either that was meant just for somebody else that was on the far post.
Yeah.
And he jumps in front of it.
Yeah. But Altidore's club form makes me worried because he went on that tear for the USA team, and then it kind of died off, and he hasn't really done well for Sunderland. But I just think in the Premier League,
it's Sunderland.
That's the difference. It's not the chemistry. I think the chemistry works well for Altidore because you look at Zuzi, Diskerud, Beckerman, Bradley. You look at the midfield players; they have all linked up more than once in qualifying with Josie Altidore. Of course. Okay, my number 4 is the Netherlands combo: Robin van Persie and Klaas Huntelaar. Because these two guys, you talk about shoot outside the box.
Yeah, I know.
Both these players are dual-footed. That's what makes them dangerous. They're both lefties by trade, but they can both shoot right-footed, and they both make shots that you'll never think they would shoot, and they do. So that's my number 4.
Okay, let's go on our number 3 because they're both the same. My number 3 is Luis Suarez and Edison Cavani.
That's my number 3.
Okay, that's his number 3 as well. The only reason I have them as number 3, not as number 2, is because of the player we're talking about. But they are both the number 1 and number 2, as far as I'm concerned, the best free kick takers in the world.
Yes. Hey, here's the thing for Suarez. This is something. Okay, Suarez recently set a mark in the Premier League. Okay, for goals scored this season. Not one single one of those goals was scored from the penalty spot. Not one. They were all free kicks.
Of course, they have
or
Steven
regular
Gerrard.
goals. Yeah,
they have Steven Gerrard from the penalty.
But nobody else has done that. Alan Shearer had 6. Ronaldo had 5. They all did with those records.
Sure.
Suarez is one of those guys, and in fact,
if you watch Edison Cavani for PSG, take a free kick. I mean, we don't really see much French soccer in the US.
Unless it's PSG.
Yeah, League One soccer. Unless it's PSG, yeah. If you watch him from any free kick, he's either hitting the post or it's in.
Oh, yeah.
Suarez, I'd say 75% of the time it's in, and 95% of the time it's on target.
Here's what I'm gonna say about Suarez. When they did the player awards, the goalies got the vote on why they chose the striker.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Every one of the goalies said the same thing about Suarez. This guy has the quickest trigger. He takes shots that you don't think he'll take. He'll hit a free kick, and you'll think, okay, he's either going to bend it over the wall or this dude will do it the other way,
and bend it the opposite
way,
on the
wrong foot,
and
he'll.
ridiculous.
It's the things he does, and like Tony said about Cavani, this guy can be in the World Cup. There are going to be 2 players that probably have the strongest shot, as in fastest. I mean, they score because the ball gets on the goalie like that and doesn't have time to react. Yeah. Edison Cavani and Lucas Podolski, these 2 dudes have rockets, but Cavani and Suarez, number 3. My number 2. I'm going to go to my number 2 before we get into number 1 and 2 on your side, because my number 1 is your number 2. Olivier Giroud and Karim Benzema of France. And I say this because they're both players that like to lurk in the box and make goals that they're not tap-ins. They do headers and stuff like that, but they seem to just find the right service. The ball may not be the best cross. It may not be the best pass, but they do things to get themselves there. And not only that, they both assist well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen this, but if you guys want to see an awesome assist by Olivier Giroud, Google Norwich Arsenal Jack Wilshere goal, because the little flick that Giroud does to score Wilshere is insane. You'd think you'd see that from a world-class midfielder, not a striker.
The only thing that I have a problem with and why they're not in my top 4 is Karim Benzema's club performance has been so down lately. So down. Champions League, he's been invisible. Invisible.
Except when he scored
1 goal. The entire Champions League. Come on now.
But together, when
they
they
start
for France,
90 minutes on Real Madrid.
But the thing is that you look at his record for France, and that's the thing about France. They don't have many options at striker. We're talking about quality options. Those are their 2 best strikers in the country.
Thierry Henry left. That's that.
Yeah. So okay. So let's get into your number 1. Let's go to your number 1 first, because we'll talk about our 2 versus 1 argument.
My number 1 is Wayne Rooney and Daniel Sturridge. The only reason I have them as number 1 and not Luis Suarez and Edison Cavani as number 1 is because Daniel Sturridge assisted on 90% of Luis Suarez's goals.
Fastest player
When there was a lot of times that Danny Sturridge could have just put it in himself. Yeah. But he's not a selfish player. He's going to assist. His speed is dangerous. Wayne Rooney's strength and speed is dangerous. So you're going to have Danny Sturridge playing next to Wayne Rooney, who just dominates. Unfortunately, we didn't have a great team at Man U this year, so he didn't really dominate that much, but he still put up over 15 goals. I mean, Danny Sturridge put up how many? 20-some odd?
20-some odd. He was the fastest player in Liverpool history with 30 goals. Okay. Faster than Fernando Torres.
Exactly. He can
Suarez.
take it himself, or he can assist to Rooney.
Here's the reason why I didn't put them in my top 4.
I don't understand why they're not in your top 4.
Here's why they're not in my top 4. Because we know those 2 players are going to score. Okay? We know it. But they're going to score because of one thing. England's midfield.
Yeah, Steven
Gerrard, Wilshere, Lampard. You got guys that can make sick passes. I mean, we're talking about John Stockton no-look-esque stuff in soccer. Guys that can see the pass before the midfield even knows what's going on. The 40-yard bomber.
I want 1 more exclusion.
Oh, he's going to bring up exclusions. Michael Carrick's on the provisional roster. This dude is old, and he's garbage. Okay?
I want 1 more exclusion. This man can pass from midfield into the box on the freaking dime.
He's not a Gerrard.
It doesn't matter. Why is he not there?
Because he got Gerrard at center defensive mid.
No, it's not because he has Gerrard. It's because, man, you had it down here, and he didn't have the numbers.
I'm going to tell you
the quality of player that he is.
Hold on. This is why he's not here.
In there.
Let's look at the youth. We got Adam Lallana, Jack Wilshere,
Oxlade
Chamberlain, Raheem
Sterling. Is a winger. Sterling is a winger.
They play midfield.
Or not striker.
They don't play wingers. They don't play wingers anymore.
I'm just saying.
4-4-2.
He plays on the right or left. He doesn't play in the mid.
That's a midfield. He's a right midfield.
Okay, Carrick plays center defensive mid.
Yeah, but they're going to have
he is
in the
the
middle.
David Beckham
They're going to have
freaking Man U,
Wilshere
man.
and Gerrard and Lallana and Wilshere.
I know. It's overstocked in the midfield. That's the problem.
Lampard and
if
Gerrard.
If he was in any other country, he would be a starter.
Can you believe the selection issues Hodgson's going to have? Who should I start in the middle?
That's unfortunate because you know why? England might not make it out of group.
Here's the. I'm gonna give you 4. I'm gonna give you some combos. Okay, here's my starting 4. One game. Gerrard and Lampard in the middle. Wilshere and Lallana on the edges. And then I'm going to switch it up in the next game. I'm going to put Wilshere and Gerrard in the middle. I'm going to put Raheem Sterling and Ox on the outside.
Go to your number 2. We're done with
my number 2.
your number. My number 2.
My number 1 is simply because one dude is the second best player in the world. The other guy is not.
No, he's not.
I'm saying the second dude is just lights out crazy good.
Oh, I thought you were talking to him as the second best player in the world.
No.
Okay, thank you.
This guy's crazy good. Sergio Kun Aguero, whose godfather is Diego Maradona of Argentina, and Lionel Messi. Okay. The only problem Argentina has is who plays goalie. Oh, nobody does. They don't need a goalie and their midfield is really not that great this year. But you've got Messi.
They're so stacked up front.
Yeah,
they're so stacked up front.
Lavezzi. They've got Di Maria.
They could have had Tempe. These two guys. That also was my number.
This is why they're not the gold. I don't have in consideration Golden Boot because I think they take too much away from each other. But individually, you put one on one side, one on the other. They both have the mobility to drop deep, play like a false 9 type thing.
Yeah.
And so that's really why I give him my number 1 over anybody else.
I mean, okay. I'll give you. I mean, you have to have Messi in there because he's one of the best players in the world. He's not the best player in the world.
No, for sure.
Cristiano Ronaldo is the best player in the world. If we both agree. Both of us had Luis Suarez for Golden Boot.
Yeah, Golden Boot, Luis Suarez.
Player of the year.
Player of the year.
Of the world.
He's not player of the year. He's I call you El Negro. I bite you. I get suspended. I still score more than anybody else type of years. No, we're not talking about a year. We're talking about years. He was good in the last World Cup. If you don't remember, that Ghana's like, oh, we're gonna game-winning goal. Yeah, he's like, no, you're not. Handball in the goal. Let's crack it. Oh, red card. You missed the penalty. No big deal.
All right, let's talk about some notables for the World Cup here. We got USA and Germany on Thursday.
Yeah, that's the last game. The last game is Thursday
26th
at 9 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, we got the 23rd on a Monday. We're playing Portugal.
And
the very first game that we're playing is
Ghana.
The 17th. We're playing against Ghana.
Might as well be playing against Kenya. I don't know if anyone's is. Ghana has knocked us out the last 2 World Cups. But if you guys don't notice, this year it's a different Ghana team. They're all lightning fast. The only slow player they have, 2 players. One is their goalie. He doesn't leave, and the other is Mike Lassine, which is a great center defensive midfielder.
Oh yeah, he doesn't need to be fast. He's playing in the back with the defensive players. You got some other notables: Belgium, Russia. We got Russia, Korea, Republic.
I put that as a notable because I believe that game determines who wins the group.
Okay, all right.
Because Korea wins that, Belgium wins the group. If Russia wins it, Russia wins the group.
I think it's a big thing that Argentina plays Bosnia. Because if Bosnia hangs in there and at least gets a draw, that throws the whole group.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Between those two. Because Iran and Nigeria don't have.
But you have to understand that when Iran plays Nigeria, they could be,
Yeah.
The winner gets
goal
straight,
diff. Goal diff in that Bosnia, Albania, Argentina game.
It's going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
Because whoever wins is probably going to jump up and play a second place, winner and advance. Spain and the Netherlands, I like that one.
Yeah, that's the only good game in Group B. I hate to break to you guys, but Spain's going to beat Chile and Australia. Netherlands is going to beat Chile and Australia.
Here's what I don't understand. They call our group the group of death. But you have Uruguay, England, and Italy, and Costa Rica in the same group. Costa Rica gave the U.S. and everybody in CONCACAF problems.
Okay, I understand those guys. Here's my other group of guys. There's 3. Colombia, Greece, Japan, and Ivory Coast.
I don't think
because
Greece
those are
is
all
be as good as you think.
Okay, listen to me. Those teams are all middle of the pack teams.
Colombia is not middle of the pack.
If they don't have Diego Costa, they're middle of the pack.
They don't have Diego Costa?
Or I mean, not Ramadal Falco. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Ramadal Falco. He's trying to come back from a Steele Wolcott injury.
All right.
So if they don't got him, that's middle of the pack group.
For me, I think Ivory Coast is huge in that group. I think Didier Drogba.
Yeah, but Japan, the Japanese
I
players.
don't want to hear nothing about Japan. They're not going to make it.
Shinji Kawagawa, man. Kazusuke Honda. These dudes are tight. These guys, nobody even realizes Japan gave Italy a run for their money at the Confederation Cup.
Before we go, I want to state one thing that we talked about last week, and Khalil Mack was not the number one pick.
That's okay. He was drafted by a good team.
But was not the number one pick.
JD Clowney was the biggest mistake in franchise history. Hey, how'd Mario Williams work out for the Texans?
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
What did you say last week?
I took Khalil Mack.
And what else did you say? There was two things that I had to call you out on.
I don't know.
That Odell Beckham Jr. is going in the top 5.
Oh, he should have gone in the top 5.
But he didn't.
Hold on. The Bills traded up and took Watkins.
Doesn't matter.
Well, that's the pick right there. They took the two. There's two wide receivers.
Work out for
there's
you.
2 wide receivers to take. They took 1.
So I want to call out Mr. Aaron Baps to. I'm gonna definitely send him a link to this show because he said Johnny Manziel was going to go in the 2nd round at best.
That didn't happen. 1st round. We'll talk about the draft later on. I'm Shawn Adams.
I'm Tony Gaglione.
Stay tuned for segment 2.
Thanks for watching segment 1.